Have you ever wished you could just flip a switch? Turn on your brain's A-game on demand? Well, today we're diving into a powerful prescription drug that gets tantalizingly close to that idea. We're talking about Armodafinil.
You know, the idea of a pill that could unlock 100% of your brain power, it's pure science fiction, right? It's that movie magic promise of instant focus, flawless memory, just peak mental horsepower whenever you need it. But what if I told you that in the real world, people are chasing something just like it?
And that chase has led a lot of people to Armodafinil. But here's the thing. This isn't some magic pill from Hollywood. It's a very real, very serious medication with a specific job. And the line between using it as a medical tool and using it for personal enhancement, well, that's where things get really fascinating and a little bit risky. Let's unpack that.
So what exactly is Armodafinil? To really get it, we need to go beyond just calling it a stimulant. It's in its own unique class, and that makes all the difference.
It's part of a class of drugs called eugeroics, which is a fancy word that basically means good arousal or good wakefulness. Now, this is key. Unlike classic stimulants like amphetamines that can feel like a jolt to your whole system, jittery, anxious, eugeroics are way more targeted. They aim specifically at the brain's sleep-wake switch to promote alertness in a way that feels, for many people, really clean and natural. And the chemistry behind this is actually pretty cool. You've probably heard of its older cousin, Modafinil. Think of Modafinil like a pair of gloves. It has two molecules that are mirror images of each other, a left hand and a right hand. Well, scientists figured out that the right-hand molecule was the real powerhouse. It was more potent and it lasted longer. So what they did with Armodafinil was brilliant. They basically got rid of the left hand and created a drug that is only the more active, more refined right-hand molecule.
Okay, so we've got this more potent, refined molecule, but how does it actually get into our brain and flip that switch from sleepy to wide awake? A huge piece of the puzzle is dopamine. So imagine your brain cells are talking to each other by tossing around little dopamine molecules. After the message gets delivered, a thing called the dopamine transporter, or DAT, acts like a tiny vacuum cleaner, sucking up all the leftovers. Well, Armodafinil comes in and basically sticks a piece of tape over the end of that vacuum hose. It blocks the cleanup crew. This leaves more dopamine hanging around, keeping the circuits for focus and alertness buzzing. It's one reason the feeling is so clean. It's not a huge artificial flood of dopamine, it's just preventing the normal cleanup.
But it's not just a one-trick pony. Armodafinil is more like a conductor of a whole orchestra of brain chemicals. It also dials up norepinephrine, giving you that extra bit of alertness. It boosts histamine, which is a major player in wakefulness. And it talks to the orexin system, the master controller that keeps you in a stable, awake state. It's this multi-pronged attack that gives it such a powerful and unique effect.
Now, with a drug this powerful and complex, it's no surprise that it's a tightly controlled medication. So let's look at who it's actually designed for. What are the official, on-the-label uses? The FDA has given the green light for 3 very specific situations, all of them involving what they call excessive sleepiness. First is narcolepsy, a condition where the brain's sleep-wake switch is basically broken. Second, it's used as an add-on for people with obstructive sleep apnea who are still tired even with their primary treatment. And third, for shift work sleep disorder, to help folks whose jobs completely mess up their natural body clock. So the main takeaway here, officially, this drug is for treating debilitating sleepiness, not for giving healthy people an edge.
But of course, the official uses are only half the story. And this brings us to the most famous and most controversial part of Armodafinil's reputation. What happens when it goes beyond the prescription pad?
So on one side of the line, you have the approved medical uses we just talked about. But on the other side, you enter the world of biohacking. We're talking about students using it for all-nighters, coders trying to stay in the zone, or executives facing impossible deadlines. They're using it to crush fatigue and, they hope, to get a serious cognitive boost. This is where that smart drug legend really comes from.
And honestly, it's easy to see the appeal. The common description is a kind of smooth, clean focus. It's the feeling of being totally dialed in without the jitters or anxiety you might get from drinking way too much coffee. It's the promise of being able to just sit down and power through difficult mental work with way less effort.
And that laser focus, it lasts a long time. We're talking a half-life of 12 to 15 hours. That means one pill in the morning can keep you going through your entire workday and well into your evening. But, as you can probably guess, that incredible stamina comes with a pretty obvious catch.
Yeah, the number one side effect by a long shot is insomnia. If you take this stuff anytime past mid-morning, you can pretty much forget about sleeping that night. Other common issues are headaches, often from dehydration, so you got to drink a lot of water, some nausea, dizziness, and for some people, it can actually crank up their anxiety, which is the opposite of what they want. So while it can feel smooth, there can definitely be some turbulence.
Okay, now we need to get serious for a minute and talk about the fine print. These are the major league warnings, the risks that everyone, and I mean everyone, needs to know about before even thinking about this drug.
This is the big one. It's extremely rare, but Armodafinil can trigger a severe skin rash that can turn into a life-threatening emergency called Stevens-Johnson syndrome. The medical advice here is not a suggestion, it's an absolute rule. If you take this and you get any kind of rash, you stop taking it and you call a doctor. Immediately. Period.
And this next one is just as critical. Armodafinil basically puts your liver into overdrive, which causes it to break down other drugs faster than usual. Unfortunately, this includes hormonal birth control, pills, patches, implants, you name it. It makes them significantly less effective. So a reliable backup method of contraception is considered absolutely essential while on the drug and for a full month after stopping it.
And just to really drive home why these warnings are so important, let's go back to that comparison with Modafinil. This chart says it all. Milligram for milligram, Armodafinil isn't just a little bit stronger, it's significantly more potent, and its effects are much more stable and long-lasting throughout the day. This isn't just a small tweak, it's a real upgrade in power. So, with that level of refined power, it's no wonder this is a controlled substance. In the US, it's classified as Schedule 4. What that means is the government acknowledges it has some potential for abuse or dependence, although it's considered much lower than, say, Schedule 2 stimulants, like Adderall or Ritalin.
So, we're left with this incredible tension. Is Armodafinil a valuable medical tool for people with life-altering sleep disorders? Absolutely. Is it a backdoor to becoming limitless, a tool for human enhancement? Well, a lot of people are certainly trying to use it that way. But the key, the absolute bottom line, is that this is a powerful pharmaceutical, not some vitamin. And knowing the difference between therapy and enhancement and respecting the risks is everything.